Hello,
What
I'm Manish. Hi, Gaurav.
what's up,
Hello.
guys? What's going on?
But today we finally did it. We started the first
Finally, our
episode.
first episode for the internet.
So, what are we here to talk about?
I think the best thing to start is talking about our immigration journey to whatever stage we are in right now in
That's fair.
different countries. We can start with introduction. I think we should, uh, and then we can
Yeah, let's do
dive
that.
deep into the
Hmm.
like whatever the journeys that we have had. Yeah, my name is Gaurav. I've been in US since 2018. I came from India to do my master's from UMass in Amherst. It's a small town close to Boston with nothing out of nowhere. But yeah, I lived there for about like 1.5 years, then moved to Seattle for internship and job purposes. As you probably have heard, Seattle is full of Amazonians, and I moved here just for that. Uh, yeah, right now I'm a software engineer. I have been working as a software engineer for about a decade now, which is a fun thing to say. Uh, yeah, and actually, when I was talking with my teammate last week, I realized that I have been in 3 companies so far in this decade, and I've worked in each company for 3 years. And right now I'm working at Meta as a software engineer, and the 3 year mark is coming. No surprises yet.
Awesome. Soham, what about you?
Yeah, I moved to US in 2019. Similar stories to do masters from Carnegie Mellon University, which is based out at Pittsburgh East, which is in East Coast. Spent close to 16 months there in Pittsburgh. Then 2021 started journey as a software engineer at Amazon, moved to Seattle. Surprisingly, we three again moved to the same city. I think Monish will give a background on how we know each other and all the stuff. Still with Amazon, enjoying it here. Really like the weather, and also I know a lot of folks here, uh, and it's been a fun journey. Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. So about me, my name is Monish Chakraborty. I also moved here 2019. We were in Bangalore before. I was working there as a software engineer. Then I moved here to study software engineering at Carnegie Mellon University. After that, I got a job at Oracle and moved to Seattle. And like about a year and a half later, I moved to Adobe and I've been working there for now. Lately, and that's a separate discussion probably, but I moved from US to Canada. So right now I have been in Canada for almost a year now. Talking a little bit more about how three of us met, how do we know each other? I guess I'm gonna keep this like I'm gonna get your inputs as well, but just to begin, I think the earliest thing that would have happened among the three of us is I think Gaurav and Soham, you guys met in college, right? How did that go? How did you guys meet
Actually, I
there? Very
think
good friends. What was going on there?
we met before college. Uh,
Uh,
so we are both Bengalis, and we are three of us are all Bengalis, but we are both from the same place in Kolkata. So like our houses were like what 15 minutes walking distance, uh, and we didn't know. We went to the same tuition classes there. We met in the tuition classes. That time our interactions were limited. Then we got both into Jadavpur University's IT department. Then like for our undergrad, and then we got to know each other, spent a lot of time together, used to travel in sweaty sultry buses to to college. Pathetic experience for those 4 years, but yeah, we became really good friends during those 4 years. Then in 20, I guess I am the uh,
You're the common denominator.
common person between these
Yeah.
two.
Yep.
2014, there was an opportunity, if I'm not wrong, 2014, there was an opportunity for a Google Student Ambassador program. And I applied for it from Jadavpur University, and Monish had applied from his college. And we met during the orientation week in Pune for that. And that's where we bonded and we became friends. And then rest, I think both of you have context, so why not you guys share?
So, Gaurav, what happened next?
Yeah, I think then after that, the TLDR version is we always end up somehow working in the same city. Uh, I don't know how it will evolve now that Monish is in Canada. But yeah, we used to work in Bangalore. Then we moved in as roommates. That's how we uh, our friendship grew over the 3 years in Bangalore. Then yeah, then again we our paths crossed here in Seattle. So
Okay, so I guess we can like enough of introductions and boring the internet with that. We can move over and like talk more about what we're here to talk about, our home buying journeys. So a little bit of context before that. Um, all three of us are technically home buyers right now, um, but we have started at different points of time. Maybe not all of us had thought about it a lot in our earlier lives when we were back in India. Right now, it was definitely a very interesting experience, I think, and all three of us will probably have stuff to share about that. Hopefully, that good people of the internet can make use of. I guess we can talk a little bit more now about planning. Like, when did you start planning about this? What were the steps that you needed to give yourself confidence about this home buying process? And what did you do to make sure? Because this can be like one of the most significant investments in our lives, right? So, how did you gain more confidence? What did you do?
uh, I'll start because I think I had to kind of face the most challenges at that time because in my circle no technical non-immigrant was confident about buying a house, especially in US. And to be honest, everyone was kind of questioning when we finally bought the home, everyone kind of questioning like in this as uncertainty, like why will you buy a house in a country where you don't have even a permanent um permission to stay. So it's a very bold step. So I had to kind of do all that research and see if you always try to find someone who has done it before. It's always better.
Right.
It's very difficult to do it first time. It's like good if you can do it as a first time with like super high confidence. Um but it's a difficult thing to do when others haven't done it. At least in my circle, nobody did it. But we were kind of, I guess, emotionally involved in that process already, which took us over the line. I guess we always wanted to have that home, that dream, the American dream that was sold. I think that emotional drive took us over the line to rule out those uncertainties and handle. So yeah, I did a lot of research. At that time on I talked with many lenders, and when I kind of dived into that, then I saw that many people are actually doing it. I started seeing that many people are doing this. It's not a very uncommon thing to do as a non-immigrant, and then it gave me confidence. uh, yeah, at that time there was some real estate market in US was in frenzy, uh, because of
What year
the
was this?
this was 2021. So it was already people are competing against houses because of the low interest rates.
It's the pandemic-induced frenzy, right?
Yes, people were moving out of the city to suburbs, even out from Seattle to other like upcoming areas like Austin and other all those things. And actually, we did think about moving to Austin. Glad we did not now. But yeah, I think that at that time, yeah, all those research and all those things, and then yeah, I was we are pretty noobs. I had no clue what a home buying process is in US. I went to my first home like tour with my agent, and they were throwing all those like technical terms like inspection, like contingency, like waivers, financial waiver, and all those things, which we just nodded along. I had no clue. Uh, but yeah, I had to do a lot of study and research on understanding the whole process.
Yeah, there was no chat GPT at that point of time.
Yes, and there was no AI at that time, so and Google was not very helpful. I mean, it was, but it's like no straightforward answers. Yeah,
Yeah, that brings me to an interesting point, right? Like you mentioned, um, like not having anybody to look forward, like to ask questions, or for us, I think for Soham and me, we had you when we were entering this, so we were able to ask you questions and gain some confidence that way. But it is definitely hard to do it like the first time, get some
yeah,
confidence to do all those things. That is fair. So it's always useful to like find friends or even people who have come before you
yeah,
and have gone through this process before. It's definitely helpful in getting more confidence, and especially when you're talking to these people like the realtors and the mortgage agents and things
yeah,
like that. You know that they're gonna be paid. Like your
exactly.
transaction goes through, they're gonna be paid. So they're speaking out of their own self-interest. So you find it hard to trust them with everything that they're saying. So it's
Yeah,
always useful to have somebody like a friend, kind of a figure to bounce your thoughts off.
yep.
Um,
And also, I think one thing is since we come from India, we find it very hard to trust people,
yep.
which is not the case in
Yeah.
US. I think in US people really trust relationships and networking. It's very hard. It was hard for us to kind of uh, do that, but I think eventually I have evolved to trust people and understand relationships more in the US.
Yeah. So, what was your plan? Like, what was your planning process like? What did you feel like were the biggest challenges when you were planning to buy a home?
I think, yeah, like building on what Gaurav shared, uh, it's you might get overwhelmed with the full process, right? Because there's so many things. Where will you get the money to buy the house? How much money should you spend for the house, right? Which is
Yep.
what is the right amount of money you should spend to get a house? Who's gonna give you a loan? Which place you should buy a house? And all those questions will pop up. I think before we got the house, we had visited close to 100 viewings, uh, close to 100 viewings to find the right house that we needed for our use.
And how long did you take like for those 100 views? That's a lot of time, right? That you spent on all of viewing
Yeah, I
all of
think
the
it was
houses.
more than 6 months.
6 months. Yep.
More than 6 months. We were debating on locations. Should it be Seattle? Should it be on the east side? Move to Kirkland, Bellevue, because we used to stay in Bellevue in the middle just to rent out. We were renting out in Bellevue. We really liked the city. It's like I think 20 minutes from Seattle. So we were planning to like why not buy a house there? But we realized it's not possible. It's too expensive to afford
Yeah.
anything there. And then I feel that it was a good thing we went through that process, set our expectations right, learned a lot, bounced ideas. Uh, uh, since Gaurav had already done it, we knew that okay, on visa, it's still, even if there is a risk, worst case first, people have done it. There, uh, people buy houses, enjoy. Worst case worst, there's something or the other that can be figured out. And then once we had a number in mind, we got a good deal. We got a very cheap townhouse,
Hmm.
which we got a very good deal on. And then we were okay. Like worst case worst, it's almost like our rent, so why not do and go ahead. It all depends on location in US, right? Uh, like Texas is a great example. You would have seen a lot of Indian immigrants moving to Texas, having huge houses, palatial houses, which cost 300 to 400K USD, and that amount won't get you anything in Seattle. So there's a vast difference on where you stay, how much you spend. Similarly, salaries vary, affordability varies. So unlike India, I think living cost varies a lot based on your location in US. Think of it like Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi. Want to buy a house? It's gonna be very expensive than you buy in a tier two city, right?
What
I think
about you
it's
guys? Like, what do you think was like some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
no, I think this was definitely one of the biggest challenges is having a good credit score. I think the best thing that you can do when you move to a new country is start some way, some way, start a credit history for yourself. I think that's something, yeah, for Monish, for you, probably just moved to Canada and you have bought house. And I'm actually surprised that the US credit history doesn't matter in Canada. That's a strange thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
you'll read stuff that Experian works in US and also in Canada, right? But they don't share their databases. Apparently, there's
okay.
a movement going on to try to do that, but nothing has happened in that space yet.
So
Um,
it seems very interesting because in India we didn't never bothered about these stuff, right? Though I think now Sibyl score is trying to do that something similar, but I don't know how it works in the back end in India, but there was no concept of a credit history that is needed for getting a loan or getting a credit card in India. But I think for US and Canada to be specific, you have to be on top of it. We like my first credit card was when I was in my second semester at Carnegie Mellon, which I feel it was also too late. Should have got it
yeah.
before.
Those
Uh,
are student credit cards, right?
yes, yes. So I think uh, credit card credit history is important. How you build it is important because uh, US Canada trust based societies. So once you have an history with either your properly on time paying rents, properly on time paying credit card bills, uh, banks and everyone will favor you, the financial institutes will favor you. So what these favors look like, you get better rates for your loans, you get better deals, you get qualified for cards, and overall your financial journey will be better in in the north, in US and Canada, if you have a good credit history.
A quick question for both of you. So in Canada, it is something like you just need to have like a 670 or something like that, a minimum credit score. And
Minimum,
above
yeah.
that, the rates are pretty same for everybody else. It doesn't really matter. So if you have below that,
Oh,
some lenders may give you like a non-preferential rate. But if you just meet that minimum credit score, everybody else just gives you like whatever is their best rate.
oh,
Anything on top of that is kind of like relationship, like you already have like two or more other mortgages with them and you're getting a third one. Yeah, maybe they'll give you something even better. So, but yeah,
I
is
think
that
it's
something similar
same.
in US?
Yeah, I think it's similar here. I mean, not similar, but probably you need. Yeah, there is one minimum credit score that is required to even get qualified for that mortgage. But I think apart from that, anything above 740, I think
Yeah,
the difference is pretty minimal, I
pretty
guess.
minimum, true.
780 probably will get you, I don't know, some 10, 50 basis points
Hmm.
advantage. But yeah, again, the relationship matters a lot here. Uh, yeah, I think the critical factor which kind of maybe doesn't apply if you're buying home for the first time is your existing like mortgage or whatever debt you have. If you have a lot of debt, like student loan or like all those things, it can negatively impact because your income is limited, and if you have already some other expenses, it it hampers your kind of mortgage lending power, I would say.
Yeah, and also what's surprising to me, what I felt in this process was that while they were checking my credit here, and I did like provide my US 5 years credit history as well, just as an additional supplemental document. They did not really know if I have like another loan back in India because I'm a citizen of India. So technically, they did not
Yeah.
check all of those things, which I feel like is kind of oversight on their part. They should definitely, even if we are technically non-immigrants or like even if we are here as permanent residents or something like that, they should probably like there should probably be some way of like for them to check whether you have more loans in your home country or not. But they don't do that with. I guess they get away with it,
Yeah,
and that's
I
fine.
think yeah, I think that's the same here. I don't think they check if you if you owe anything on your home country or other countries.
So always good idea. Figure out your debts. Sit, make a plan on how much you want to spend, and always spend less than that plan.
Yeah.
Because things will go north. You will end up. I think what Gaurav was initially saying. There was a phase when Gaurav was buying the house. There was a seller's market. So when I say seller market, it means that uh, sellers or house sellers were have more power. They were dictating the number. Like if they want to sell a house at 100K more than actually it should be valued at, they could because there were more buyers than sellers, and they all were bidding to get a house. And that's what Gaurav said. He had to bid, and now it has changed currently in US, right? So always
Probably not all markets, but
most of it, right?
It's a supply demand thing, right? So it keeps changing
yeah.
over the years.
It
But
will
right after the pandemic, it happened for God of that it happened to be a seller's market.
sellers market,
The
right,
seller's
right.
market for everywhere, I guess, in US. Yeah.
Yep. And that's where they like get a pre-approval, have a number in mind, how much you can afford. Uh, Also future plan, right? Because your monthly payments will keep on happening for 15 or 30 years or whatever time you do, right? But your other expenses will also increase over unless income is also increasing at the same pace, right? So I
Hmm.
think a lot of things I don't know, we as much planning we could do, we have all planned, but
Yep.
whatever uncertainties, something will be remaining. That's fine. Um Trust
How did
yourself.
you how did you determine the like how much money you should spend on your home and how much emotional factor did drive that value up for you?
Yep.
So how?
It's a good question.
I mean, for me, I think I was not looking for a permanent home. Is looking for a just starter home. So again, a different concept maybe for us Indians when we were back in India. A house is a permanent house, right? Once you buy it, you live. Your kids grow up there. You spend your all life till staying at the single home, right? But for US, the concept is different. Young families start with a starter home, which is a small house. Then once they need a bigger space, once they have kids, they move to a bigger house, single family home generally. Then again, once the life they have kids graduate, go to college, they have their own life. They again move to smaller houses, and then retirement house or however they want to plan out. So
Yeah.
it's not one house that you will buy in your life in US.
Yep.
Uh, you will keep on buying, selling, and then move on. So
Yep.
I think I thought of that way, have a starter home which is bare minimum how much money is needed to get a house, proper house in Seattle, and then stick to that budget. And in future if I want to sell that or rent that house out, will that make sense, whatever I'm paying. So that was my
So
rationale behind getting the first house.
yeah, I think one fa fact about like we talked about like starting with starter home. I think like there's a stat in US like every American on average changes their home every 7 years. So
Oh,
I think
that's wild.
that's a fact. I don't think that's applicable in India or like in other
Probably not.
countries, like developing country. I think once you buy a home, it's just there for you. It's forever. It's a kind of forever home, basically.
Right. And also another interesting fact about things that we came to know in US, there are 100 years old houses here as well. which keeps on selling every 7 years.
Yeah.
Which was like mind blowing. Like 100-year house in India won't stand. You won't buy it, right? But
Yeah.
things. I think Gaurav can talk about his like current house and how did he this.
Yeah, so my primary home is like it's a 1979 build, so it's like 50 years, I guess. Yeah, around 50 years old. Yeah, but I mean, for me, it was also kind of difficult during that first like home buying research process to understand, to make terms with this fact that you buy a house which is just built out of cardboard and wood. It's a very difficult thing to get adjusted to coming from a developing country where everything is like brick or concrete. Did that play of any factor in your buying process, or was that a non?
Actually, this is we can do probably an entire episode on like what we like and dislike about homes in US and
Right.
what we about in India, because we have lived in all kinds of homes, right? Like a single family detached townhomes,
Yes.
apartments, and there's many things we like, many things we dislike, but yeah, it is what it is for some reason. But yeah, we won't go too
Yeah.
much into that. Let's actually, I want to pivot this conversation into talking a little bit more about what are the things that like a first time home buyer or any home buyer in fact in who is an immigrant would need to keep in mind as they're going about this process in your future.
I think initially we started like Gaurav's thought process, and that's where the 6 months come. Started
And that's
looking
where the 100 homes comes in. Yeah.
house consent. We were looking single family, good backyard, everything. Kirkland, Bellevue, even not Seattle, but everything is so expensive down there. Mainly because a lot of again immigrants have bought houses there. Good school district. These factors up the price, and we didn't need those things. We realized we don't need those things immediately,
Mhm.
and uh, went ahead with okay, change our expectation, change our use case, and then decided, okay, let's be more practical on this aspect for now. And then obviously, house buying is an emotional process.
Yeah.
People generally compare stock investment, but it totally you can't because there is an emotional aspect. You will have memories here. You
Yep.
will host friends. You will have your family grow up here. Your kids will enjoy the place. So you can't compare them to like his decision is right or someone else's is right. Whatever works for your use case, you should do. But yeah, always think of it in the practical sense as well, not just the emotional.
Yeah, that's a very nice point you made there, right? Like, typically, if you go to these YouTube finance and home buying experts, and they'll give you this advice, like, oh, if you look at the S&P 500, it has grown
Right.
7% on an average, but homes have grown only 3% or something like that. Don't quote me on the figures. But having said that, what price do you put on the time that you spend in there, and the memories that you make, and the experiences that you have in your own home? As compared to like your rental apartment where you're constantly dealing with a landlord who may or may not be nice. So yeah, it cannot be a same like a apples to apples comparison. It's not the same as comparing with any other S&P 500 investment. But yeah, like tell me more about the process in US. Like, what did you do first? Like, what was the process look like from the time that you basically dipped your toes into the market to the time that you like got handed the keys to your first home?
Yeah, I think we first started by just
Redfin.
Redfin, liking houses,
Okay, if
and
I may
actually,
say something before Gaurav adds, uh, so in US things are a bit more orderly. Like there is a database where all houses get published, MLS, and
Yeah.
then Redfin, Zillow. These are two star companies, or they provide apps where you can see the house, all details, price, pictures. People who want to sell put it there, which is
Mhm.
different than India. Like, I was so amazed, and this is a nice part of buying a house.
Yeah,
yep,
definitely.
yeah, I think that yeah, we somehow. yeah, I guess we are doing like liking houses in Redfin. Uh, like I said, we started with buying a small apartment, and then eventually it evolved to a single family home with a big backyard. Uh, every day our budget will go up by 100K, and that's how at that time we were not thinking of like can we even pay mortgage with our current salary and all those things. But we liked few houses like single family houses. We found an agent through Redfin, and the agent basically scheduled some house tours for us, those the houses that we loved. And this was
Before
a
you move forward, like how did you find the agent like through Redfin? What's the process like there?
so there is like if you go to any house in Redfin, there is like a recommendation there. Like if you want to tour house, like you can immediately like click a button, get an agent from Redfin who will help you in buying the house. This is one way to find an agent, I guess. There are many ways to find agent through word of mouth, through recommendation. Now there is like like influencers through Instagram and YouTube are also promoting
Yeah.
themselves as an agent. There are many other ways. Like there are many meetup groups where agents promote themselves. And yeah, that was just one way where we found one way to actually reach out to an agent, and we basically just did that.
Is that how you found your agent as well, Swam?
Initially, yes, but then no. So basically, firstly, agents are like not mandatory. Is it mandatory to have an agent to buy a
It's
house?
it's not. You can close house if it is. Yeah, I think you can buy house without an agent. Uh, but yeah, it's more complicated.
Right.
Buying through an agent is more straightforward.
Like don't think of them as brokers that we have in India. They are like basically two agents, two types, seller and buyer. So if I want to sell something, I hire a seller agent who is a real estate professional, does my listing, does processing, talks to all the buyers. I never interact with them directly, and if someone wants to buy, they hire a buyer agent. For us also, first thing we were looking at Redfin, it auto assigns you an agent. They come with you to the viewing. You can't directly go and see a house. If you like something, the agent has to schedule a appointment so that it's free. They nicely stage houses. So basically, if I want to sell my house, they will manage and stage it nicely with furniture and all. And you go and see the house. If you like, you talk. We were seeing with Redfin agents, but then uh, word of mouth through one of our friends, we got to know our current agent, uh, who was more into real estate wealth development. So we understood, talked to him, really liked his thought process around buying a house, be it for uh, short term, like 7, 5 years, or for long term. So then we went ahead with him.
Okay, and did you have to sign a contract with your agent?
I think it became a law couple of last year,
Last year.
that last year
Okay.
that your agent is exclusive. So if you are seeing an agent and that person shows you a house, you have to buy with that agent.
Hmm.
But we didn't sign an exclusivity clause. Our agent was very chill about it. Like he wanted us to explore other agents and come back to him. So he told us, go, feel free to talk to others, go see houses, and then yeah, we never signed that, but I think that's mandatory right now.
I see.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
yeah, it's
it's pretty
mandatory right
similar.
now.
It's pretty similar here in Canada, that you can like you need to get an agent. I believe you kind of must get a buyer's agent. Don't quote me on that. That's what I understand. But for a seller's agent, you can like represent yourself and sell your own home. It's not mandatory to get a seller's agent. But for me as well, what I did was I just went to my bank, which is Royal Bank of Canada, and I like approached for a mortgage pre-approval. So then I got connected with an RBC person, like a salaried RBC person, not a broker, who actually helped me get the pre-approval. And after the pre-approval, they actually recommended me an agent. And So I went ahead and interviewed that agent. We basically went and like talked to them, tried to question them about their understanding of the real estate market. How do they like to work? What are our needs? What's their how they can help me with those things and all. And I think we finalized with that because we were pretty happy with them. And also, they here you do have to sign a contract, but it's not mandatory if the agent doesn't want to. So the agent basically, like I said again, it's a trust-based system, right? So they said that I will trust you, you can trust me. We don't need to sign a contract. My ethics, the agent basically came and told me that my ethics is that I don't take on two clients who are looking for the same thing. So if you're looking for a townhome in this kind of a range, I won't take another townhome like another client who is looking for the same thing. So like again, yeah, like a trust-based system,
That's
and
a
it,
new
it
thing.
worked out. It worked out pretty well for me. So
I don't think Soham, our agents do that, right? I don't think this is pretty unique. I've heard this first time. Like they won't take clients who are looking for the same property, same type of property.
Right, right. I don't think so.
yeah,
They,
typically the contract is what sort of ties them in, that you cannot go ahead with some other agent, and the agent also cannot like go behind your back and sell the same thing to somebody else.
Hmm.
But in our case, he was pretty open
is
about
it
it.
is
So
it same in Canada? So here, when the seller sells the house, his like the amount he's getting from that the seller agent and buyer agents are paid.
yes, that's true.
Unless with the current law seller refuses to pay the buyer agent, then the contract comes into play and the buyer has to pay that money.
Possibly, yes.
Is
For
it
us, I think there's a little bit more provincial red tape. So here, the rules vary by province. So I believe BC province red tape is a little bit more. So I don't think it's that easy to like avoid
Hmm.
paying like your seller's fee and avoid paying the buyer from that part.
Okay, so Monish, you went to your bank first to get a mortgage before you got an
Yes.
agent. How did
Yeah,
you
I
know
got
that,
the.
that that's the right thing to do
I
and
asked
not
you.
before agent? Okay.
I asked you. Yeah, yeah, actually that's fair question. Like I just like looked up Reddit, figured out, and then I asked talk to you guys. Like, how did you find your agency? Remember, we have this WhatsApp group chat where we keep talking about these things, and so I did ask you guys like, what do you do to get an agent? And I
Yep.
guess what came out of that conversation was get
how many
pre-approved first.
agents did you interview?
One.
Oh, that
So typically you should interview more than one, but for us we were like we don't need to because we're pretty happy with the first one we interviewed, so that's all right.
Sometimes it just takes one
Yeah,
to get
sometimes it's just six one. That's right.
right. And then these agents are like you build relationships with them also. Like,
Yes.
as
Yep.
we said, that people buy multiple houses, so you recommend them if you like them to your friends,
Hmm.
and then they help you further down in the journey. And
Okay. So you got a mortgage pre-approval, you got an agent. What's next? You have or
spend
you go
spend
ahead and see 100 houses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spend your evenings shortlisting houses from Redfin or Zillow, and then going with your agent and seeing them and figuring out
Yeah.
if you like it.
Uh, yeah, I think for us, since for the first house that we are buying, yeah, again, emotional factors. So if we like the house and obviously the prices, we are always looking for houses under our budget. So I mean, once in a while we'll get house which is outside our budget, and we'll still look into that house. But if we like the house, we will ask the agent to kind of like we want to offer. We really like the house. We want to offer at that time. So this is my first time home buying process. This has changed now over the years. We can go into more details later, but at that time, this was my thought process. If I like the house, I like the area, and all those my criterias that we are looking for in the house fits, I ask my agent that I want to offer. What would be the right price to offer to this house? Because you can, I mean, the interesting concept is they're selling at some price. You can ask them to sell at any price that you want. It's up to them that whether they want to accept it or not. So there's a negotiation factor which is here. It's not like uh, a fixed price that you have to pay. And in my case, I had to pay more than what they're asking for. And You can actually also pay less than they're asking for. There's a lot of negotiations involved. I think that's where the agent comes into play. Maybe you are good in negotiation, but 99 out of 100 times the agent is probably better than you in negotiation.
Yeah, like all agents are typically extroverts, right? And
Yeah,
the more experience they have, the more better they are at these things. So
yeah.
was that the same for you? Like, how did you like decide to take the jump and make an offer?
Yeah, I think we were exhausted. We wanted to close on a house.
Yeah.
Uh, this townhome popped out, which was way underpriced than what we would feel the ideal correct value for this house would be, and felt that it was close to office, close to many of our friends who were staying nearby, and made sense to take the house because it was the price point really worked well for us. So we put in an offer, told our agent to negotiate, and that's how I think things changed. Like during, as Gaurav mentioned, during his time, he had to overpay because the seller was asking X, and there were hundreds of people who were willing to pay more than X to get the house, right?
Yep.
Then Gaurav had to beat them to get the house. That's
Yep.
the bidding process. For our time, it was a bit reverse. Market was cooling down, and we underbid than the listing price.
Hmm.
So we got it at least I think what 10K less than the listing plus uh, got some add-ons added. So which felt like a good deal. So we went ahead and uh, gave the offer.
So, like, how do you decide what is the right price? I think, like, for me, I worked with my realtor and we sat and did an analysis of similar properties in the area,
Yep.
right? And tried to figure out what are other properties priced at currently and looking back at the last 6 months, what price did similar properties sell for?
Yep.
And then the other thing that we like typically do, and I think this is very common in India, is like we look at like a square foot price, so price per square foot. That is also here, but it's not as common. People tend to, I feel, put a lot of value on things like you have a tandem garage or things like that. So let's say somebody has a single car garage, which is like narrow, right? It's one back to back, and then
Yep.
somebody has a tandem garage side to side. So people really tend to pay more for side to side garages because apparently it's easier when two people are going to work, and they are both taking their separate cars, like how it is in North America. You all have your own cars, so you don't have to like take out one of your cars to take out the other car behind. So that's a bit of
Oh,
hassle. So people tend to overpay for those kinds of things. For Soham, you also mentioned add-ons, right? So like, what kind of add-ons could you add to that? Was that part of your negotiation?
Yeah, so for our case, it was a new build. Didn't come with washer dryer and anything. So we made them add the washer dryer and also pay for some adjustment to the doors and all. And
Nice.
new builds generally come with warranty, so we got it extended and all. Once you put an offer, again, depending on the market, you decide to have an inspection,
Mhm.
basically telling that, hey, we want to know everything about this property. We'll get an inspector, know every defect, everything good, bad, ugly about the property. Also get an appraisal done of the property, and then decide to continue or back out of the offer.
Right.
If you have put that in your contract, well, you get to inspect, get your inspectors. They do a evaluation of the house, tell you, hey, this roof needs to be replaced, water heater is working fine or not, and then you decide, oh, this is the amount that I might end up spending if I buy the house to fix this. Is this still good for me, or should I negotiate further or back out? And then I think after inspection, there's nothing, there's a wait time. You work with your lender to get your loan approved.
so this inspection is called a contingency, right? So there is a financing contingency as well as you can put in the offer.
Yeah,
Uh,
we call
so
that subjects here in Canada.
okay, so what it means is basically if you are for some reason if you're not able to get mortgage or like finance from any bank and you have tried your best and still you could not get, you can have it in the contract that you can back out of the buying process with no repercussions. uh, and this is a contingency which you can put in the offer, or you can not put in the offer to make your offer stand out. Uh, if you really, for example, in during my home buying process, I had to waive off every contingency. Basically, I had no ways to kind of back out of the house buying process. So if I don't get, let's say, if I am not happy with the home inspection, I will have to still buy or forfeit my deposit money, which is called the earnest money deposit. If I am not able to get mortgage, I still forfeit the money. So those are the things which you can choose to add or remove from your offer. Is it the same, Monish, in Canada?
Yeah, it is same. We call those subjects. So you basically add like when you're making your offer, you say this offer is subject to these specific conditions. And for us, we had these subjects like like home inspection, checking everything is right, me getting a mortgage.
The when you do offer on a house, there's like a 20-30 day time period where all this processing happens. There's a lot of things actually. Like there's a title company involved who will actually check if there are any liens on the property.
Right.
Basically check if everything is good with the house in terms of like legally, financially. The inspector is checking the structural and like functionality of the house, but the legal stuff is probably checked by the title company, and your lender in parallel is working on getting you approved for the final mortgage.
So you'll
But
have to get like your own lawyers for that, right?
No.
uh, not so there are two things you can do. You can either involve a lawyer, a real estate attorney, to basically draft the papers and check all these things, or there's a title company which is a concept here in US, where they are not actually real estate attorneys, but they will do all those paper drafts and check and provide an insurance against the title, which means basically there's nothing they have checked and there's nothing wrong with the ownership. So they will just do that, but they will not provide you any legal advice because they're not real
Interesting.
estate attorneys. So that's two different concepts. So you can use either of them. Most agents will work with a title company, so it's just more straightforward. Yeah.
That's interesting because like I feel like many other things US has productized this part as well. We have a company for this.
Yes.
Where,
Yes.
for us, we have to get like a lawyer. Like
Uh-huh.
you could get like a just one notarized notary official who will be able to check the documents, but lawyers are a little bit more thorough with these things. So you'll have to
Mm.
get your own lawyer who will represent you in this transaction, and they'll represent your best interests, and they'll also make sure that all of the documentation and everything is in order as you would
Yeah.
want before going into like a major financial transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an additional cost in home buying process,
That
right?
is, yes, yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Title
definitely.
company makes sure that money goes from your account to their
Yeah.
account, and the title is moved from them to your lender and
Yeah.
also you. So there's just a middleman making sure that they're intermediary, not taking any side. They're not. They're representing both side to make
And the transaction is operated in a uh,
good faith.
good faith. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, as Gaurav was saying, the day after, at the end of the maybe 20 to 30 day period, when you are supposed to get the keys, before that day, you will see a sudden dip in your net worth, money going out, called closing cost,
So they will
and
send you the like day before closing, they will send you need to bring this amount of money to the closing. And it will feel like how do I bring that money? Like do I bring a bag full of cash or like and those were legit questions during the like
exactly,
first time
yeah,
buying
first
process.
time buying process.
Yeah.
And there are many ways to kind of do that, like wire transfer, cashier's check, and all those
Yeah.
things. But yeah, the closing day is the day where you see finally a dent in your bank account.
Good.
And then when does your mortgage payments begin?
So I think the first mortgage is included in whatever the closing
Closing
amount that you
cost.
are paying. So it generally starts 1 month
1 month
after
after.
you close your
Right,
house.
right.
But you will know whatever amount you're paying like 30 days before. Uh, and it generally doesn't change by that much. So yeah,
Fair. So like to kind of summarize, I know we've talked a bunch of these things about a lot of process and all, and anybody watching till so far, please feel free to let us know if there's a specific area you would like us to deep dive on. We'd be more than happy to talk more about those in detail.
I think the yeah, I mean we feel pretty happy with whatever we did. I'm glad that we did. I took that risk at that time. Yeah, there might be. I mean, did we do it in the perfect way? Probably not. There are, if I can like go back and do it, I'll do it again, but do it in a better way, uh, with all the knowledge that I have now. But I think I don't have any kind of uh,
Regrets.
regrets, or probably it's the best decision that I did at that time. And yeah,
Definitely would do it again. And to add to Gaurav's point, only regret is should have done it before. So I think, we can talk later on why that, because I think the rates had gone up by the time interest rates had gone up by the time when we wanted to buy the house than when Gaurav got it. So should have done before, but yeah, it is very interesting. And once you have your own house, you feel this is like the biggest movable, non-movable asset, right? That you can visualize that you have, right? You have bank balances, that everything is there, but this you can visualize.
Yeah, that was great. I think it was glad we had this discussion. I know we have talked internally amongst the three of us in our own chats, WhatsApp groups, but I'm glad we did this, that we got all of this information out there, and hopefully some of you watching this can find something useful. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave a comment down here. Also, if you feel like you want to ask us a question directly, maybe you're in a similar situation and you need some help, we'll try to leave some sort of an email ID at the bottom of the description as well, so you can reach out to us.
feel free to let us know what topics you want us to dive in that would be helpful for others.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, and feel free to like and subscribe on this video. We'll see you again soon.